All right. Who's got more pressure going into the Red River Showdown? We're going to discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this is a little bit prolonged episode of Locked On Sooners because we're so excited. It's OU Texas week. Later this week, we'll discuss some of our favorite OU Texas moments. Let us know yours at Locked On Sooners on all your favorite social media platforms or on YouTube as well. Because, man, there have been so many great moments over the years. But, Jay, I had this discussion with somebody on social media, or at least it was replied to me, that Oklahoma is actually under more pressure going into this game as the number 6 team in the nation, with the Texas Longhorns now being unranked. What do you make of that? And do you believe that Texas is under more pressure or Oklahoma is under more pressure?
Oh, Texas is 100% under more pressure because right now Texas is fighting for their lives to make it into an opportunity to be even considered for the playoffs. They've only got 2 losses, so it's not like they're completely knocked out. They still have not only us, they have Kentucky and Mississippi State right behind, so that should potentially be wins, and they're both on the road. Then Vanderbilt comes to town. That'll be an interesting one because Diego Pavi and them still balling. But then right after they play against Vanderbilt, they have Georgia. They travel to Athens. Arkansas comes to town, and then they have Texas A&M come in Thanksgiving weekend. And so they've got a potential. They got at least 4 teams that are ranked that, you know, can help try to propel them back into potential conversation. Well, think about it this way. Let's go ahead and look at it real quick, John. Oklahoma plays against the number 4 team, the number 8 team, the number 11, 12, and 14. So if this game does not go the way Oklahoma wants it to go, depending on how bad, if it's a close win, it probably won't drop too far. But Oklahoma can redeem themselves by winning out in those other games and work their way back up. So the pressure is more on Texas. Now, granted, for a lot of people, they'll believe it's more on Oklahoma because Oklahoma's ranked higher, but Texas has been gassed up all year. They're the ones that have the higher expectations. People don't look. Vegas had us at 6.5 wins a couple weeks ago. There's a chance Oklahoma passes that in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And if that happens, then what, John? It's like, oh, well, they've really passed the number. Then like, how did we underrate Oklahoma so much? So we're still playing with house money right now. And if we continue to ball out, all we're going to do is, like I said, play our way into a potential playoff berth. We make the playoffs, man, and Texas doesn't. Ooh, as a former number 1, ooh, that looks really bad on that entire organization.
Yeah, I'll say that Oklahoma is under some pressure in this one because the last time these 2 teams played, it didn't go very well for Oklahoma. But this is a new year. New year, new Oklahoma Sooners team. Whether it's John Mateer or Michael Hawkins Jr., it's a new offense. As we relayed in the live show, you've got 2 pass catchers that already have more yards than anybody had last year through 5 games. So the offense is a completely different unit than what Michael Hawkins Jr. took into the Cotton Bowl last year.
Exactly.
So Oklahoma is under some pressure. Obviously, you want to go beat Texas. Sometimes, and for a lot of fans, my wife included, Oklahoma alum times too, you don't beat Texas. And a lot of times it doesn't matter what you do the rest of the season because that Texas game is the one that looms the largest. You want to have those bragging rights, especially because you're going head to head with Texas so many times in the recruiting ranks. But that being said, Texas is fighting for who they are. They're fighting for their identity. Steve Sarkisian, the seat is turning up on him. Arch Manning, the seat is turning up on him. The heat is turning up. These guys, they've got to win this one. It is a must win for these guys. Now, you could argue it's a must win for Oklahoma too, but if Oklahoma drops it, like you mentioned, Jay, they've got a schedule that if they still go 10-2 with their schedule, they're in the playoff. If Texas loses, they're out. They don't get a chance to make the playoff.
Yeah, let's look at it this way. The last time Oklahoma played Texas and Oklahoma was ranked and Texas was not, Texas did win that game. They won the game 24-17, as Bob Stoops was theirs in 2015. Texas wasn't ranked. Oklahoma was. Texas was. They weren't originally ranked at the top. But they weren't a very good team at that point. And Oklahoma still made it to the playoffs.
The 4 team.
Yeah.
Because then they ran the table and they won the Big 12.
Yeah, they ran the table, played in the Orange Bowl against Clemson, in which they lost to Brent Venables in his defense. So, but the thing is, my point is that, yeah, this one is going to be a tough one for Oklahoma because when Texas is not ranked and Oklahoma is, we are 1-3 in the last 4 meetings, in which the last one was 2015. And then before that, it was 93, 91, and 90. And that's when Gibbs was the head coach. So as a lot of people try to compare Brent Venables to that, as long as we go out there and actually we were number 6 in the country, played Texas and lost the game 10-7 back in 1991. So we just don't need to do that. Let's not do that part. Again, Texas is under more pressure specifically because they were the number 1 team in the country. And as far as the disappointment, if they don't make a bowl game after starting off number 1, the pitchforks and torches are gonna come out, and they're gonna want Sarkisian fired.
Yeah, I mean the rumblings are already there for Sark and for Arch. If they don't win this one, the wheels are going to fall off. Because it's not going to necessarily get any easier. You might look at that Mississippi State game and think, oh, that's a win. Mississippi State is playing tough right now. They are not an easy out. Vanderbilt obviously is a good team. There's nothing guaranteed. I mean, Kentucky, you catch them on the right day and they can make your life a little bit difficult. Not to say that they'll beat Texas or that any of these teams will beat Texas, but you can't just sit there and chalk up any of these games as wins. I could say the same thing for Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma's chances in all of their games, but I'm not going to sit here and say, yep, they're going to definitively run the table and go undefeated. That's the SEC. That's life in the SEC. Yeah. So Texas, you can't afford a third loss. You can't afford to start the season 3-3.
Nope, you cannot. And that Kentucky game is not going to be as easy as it sounds. Kentucky's terrible, but it ain't going to be that easy because they're known for being just overly physical. They're a team that just physically are hard. And like you said, Mississippi State is playing really good football right now. So, and for Texas, they coming off that bye week to play Florida, then us, and they don't get their next bye week until November like us. So 5 straight SEC games, and you wrap it up with Vanderbilt as the last one. Luckily, it's at home. It's going to be, the schedule has now gotten hard, and their biggest problem at Texas is like the opposite of our problem right now in the offensive line. We can't get a good push for our runs to get run blocking going. They're struggling in protecting their quarterback. That's actually the one thing we do well is our pass protection has been really good. Ask anybody. Gabe Eicher was talking about it on Oklahoma Breakdown yesterday. He's like, yeah, we've been really good in pass protection this season. Run, got to figure it out. We're nowhere near the standard, but we've been good in pass, which is satisfactory right now. And you just keep doing that. At some point, you're gonna grow and get better in the run fits, and you're gonna figure it out. I always chalk it back to also most of the team is learning a whole new system, and we got to get them to change their mindset and get them mean again. And I think we'll get there.
Yep. And it's not looking good for the Texas offensive line. And this week you have the best defensive line in the nation that you're going to have to go up against a group that can run 8 different guys out there and 9 or 10, depending on the circumstances. Not a great week to be a Texas offensive lineman. You know that they're going to be fired up and ready for the challenge, but this Oklahoma defensive line is just playing at another level right now. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow the show at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. Check out Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel on YouTube for more Oklahoma Sooners and college football coverage. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. And again, the show is at Locked On Sooners. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.